All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Good morning. I'm going to get organized here for a second. Good to see you this morning. It's a little gloomy outside today, but hopefully you went out there and did your walk this morning, right? Yeah. All righty. So we'll let a few people in. Then we're going to come back and just let me know if you can actually hear me. I'm opening up the chat box to see if you can hear me. So if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up or tell me, yeah, I can hear you, Doc. Trying to get your energy levels up this morning so we can get rocking and rolling so you can get the start of your week early on this Saturday morning. All right. All righty. Let's see. Yep. Hi, y'all. I can hear you. I can hear you. Good. Good. You can hear me. All right. What we're going to be talking about is again a combination of what we need to do today. I'm going to be laying out some things at the very beginning of what I think you should do, period. So get your pencil and papers down. This is what I want you to eat every day, not the foods, but I'll give you some leeway on that, and I'll tell you why. But then we're going to get into the the messaging that I want you to hear. So I'm going to basically tell you what to eat, what to exercise, how to exercise, and maybe how much fiber to take in, how much protein to take in. And then we're going to go through the videos, and then we're going to have some tests. We may actually have the tests first. Little fun quizzes that we make up to see if number one, you're listening to what I'm talking about. Number two, to make you think and go, why is it that I have to take that much fiber? Or do I have to take that much fiber? Or do I have to take a certain type of fiber? Why is it that I have to take protein? So, and then why is it that I have to exercise? There are basically three or four basic tenets that we just have got to follow in order for longevity. All right. And what I mean by longevity is I want you, as you age, that I want you to begin to feel better and better, as opposed to what we think that we're supposed to do as we age. We think we're supposed to slow down. We think we're supposed to, okay, I can't do that like I used to be able to do it. Uh-uh. Uh-uh. I can probably do more things now than I was able to do in my 40s and 50s, primarily because you've got to change that attitude. Because this is the time, to be quite honest, in your 40s, in my 30s, 40s, and 50s, I had to work my butt off. I was doing five, six, seven, eight barrier cases a day, several days a week. And so I was working. I was working. And so at some point in time, I was like, okay, now I got to enjoy life, right? But you cannot enjoy life if you ain't feeling like it. And there are several factors that go into not feeling like it. One of the things is that we accept the fact that, okay, our battery is draining, we don't have as much energy, so I'm not supposed to feel good at 60, 65, and 70. And so that's to be expected. No, no, we're going to flip that thing around because, like I said, right now, I want to do more traveling. I want to do more exercise. I want to do more walking. I want to do more things now because I can. All right. So I want you can too. All righty. Let me just kind of let a few people in, and then we're going to go ahead and get started because we've got a long morning. I hate that, but we do. All right. So, first of all, I'm going to ask some people in the chat. All right, how healthy do you think that you are as you're aging? Are you getting better? And the majority of you who've been here before, I guarantee you the answer is yeah. You are getting better as you age, right? For those of you who've been here before, give me an amen. Those of you who've never been here, or those of you who are new to coming here, and those who are coming here in the future, tell me how you're feeling as you're aging. Are you getting better? Are you where you want to be? Are you going in the direction that you think that you should go in as far as your health is concerned? Just put a couple of lines in the chat, just to kind of give you an idea as to where you are. If you're on your way to freedom, amen. But if you got some some concerns about your back pain, about your weakness, about your struggles with diabetes, hypertension, put that in there for me, okay? I'm going to take a little bit of water here. My mouth is dry. Mm. Got water, my unicity tea. This gives me my GLP-1 activation. Mm. We're going to rock and roll this morning, okay? Let me see what people have said in the chat. I feel good. Born feel better. I feel amazing. There you go. Yep, before it was a roller coaster. I want to improve my A1C. All right. I believe that I'm relatively healthy. I feel great. Some back pain struggles and all that. And so we'll kind of tie all that in because some people think that back pain is just back pain, but it's been shown that back pain is associated with the problems of inflammation in your body if you have excess fat. All right. If you got a pencil and paper down, I'm just going to kind of give you some core basics, nothing detailed right now. We'll get into the details as we go. So core basics as to what I want you to do. First thing, I want you to take your protein in. Okay? So when I say take your protein in, I just don't mean take your protein in via food. It's going to be a good source of your protein, bacon and your eggs, your avocado, and then your baked chicken, your tuna, all that stuff is good. Are the best. Sardines are the best if you can stand the taste. My wife mixes them up with avocado, onions, and all that kind of stuff, and so she takes the way that it tastes for me. She mixes it up, and I put it, and it tastes great. So I eat sardines a couple of times a week. Great source of omega threes and protein. It'll make your body feel amazing. Okay, so how much protein should we take in? Let me ask you some questions, and I'm gonna give you some answers. How much protein should we take in every single day? Anybody know the answer to that? And there's no tried and true answer because it's kind of a trick question, all right? Because as we get more and more knowledge from our double-blind prospective randomized studies, our meta-analyses, we're basically finding out more and more. I'm going to answer the same question about fiber, okay? All righty. 40 times 4. That person was here last week. All right. Very good. Very good. So, what I'm about to tell you, I want you to write it down. I want you to take protein in the form of protein shakes. The food that you're going to eat is going to be just icing on top of the cake, if you will. All right. But I want you to remember the numbers, the times, because I just had what did I have? I just had my whey protein isolate shake. I had 40 grams. All right. Uh, 8 o'clock. All right. The next one is 12 o'clock every 4 hours. 8 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock. That's all you got to remember. 8 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock in the morning. Preferably you get up in the morning, you do your walk at 7 o'clock. If you got different schedules, that's fine. We're going to be very, very, very liberal here. Nothing is going to be straight and narrow except 8 o'clock, 12. No, not even that. You can use 7 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Every 4 hours, whatever you are, okay? But mine, just easy for me to remember. 8 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and 8 o'clock. I got to take me a protein shake. Why do I put it on a regimen like that? Because otherwise I won't do it. Because at 12 o'clock, I may have me I don't know, a chicken salad of some sort. And I say, okay, this chicken salad is good enough. It only has 10 grams, 14 grams of protein in it. That's what it does have for me. And so, but I'm full now because of my 8 o'clock protein shake. I don't really feel like taking the 12 o'clock shake. If I don't stick to that regimen, I will miss that 12 o'clock shake. And I'm going to tell you why that's a mistake. Same thing goes with the 4 o'clock shake. I really don't feel hungry at 4 o'clock because I know I'm going to eat around about 5 or 6 or 7. All right. And so I said, "Hey, I'm going to have me a nice steak dinner. Yeah, I'll miss my 4 o'clock. If I don't put it on a regimen, and if you don't put it on a regimen, you'll figure it out really soon that you didn't do it. And I'm going to show you the issues when you don't do it. All right. 8 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock. All right. So for you guys who are less than 50, and then for you guys who are greater than 50, what we need to do is to take it in pulses. That the eight, the four, the 8 o'clock, the 12 o'clock, the 4 o'clock, and the 8 o'clock are pulses. And there's a certain amount that you need to take per pulse. For me, I have to take 40 grams of protein shake. So I get my whey protein shake. This is the just came in from Nutricost. This is not expensive. 30 grams of grass-fed whey protein isolate. It's one of the better ones out there. There are so many good ones out there, but make sure that the whey protein isolate, you ain't got to worry about it. All right. So this says 30 grams. Now, for you guys, like I said, less than 60 or 50, 30 grams is enough to take for your pulse. For me, as I get older, because other things make my muscles more resistant to protein intake, I got to take a little higher dose. Okay. Because I'm up there. All right. So, so I take 40 grams. So I'll take a scoop and a half, put it in some almond milk, shake it up. And then if I want to get elaborate, I'll take this stuff. This is something I just started trying. It's called Flav City. I don't know if you can see that. Flav City over here. And it's all in one protein. It's only 25 grams. So I got to take a scoop and a half of that. But it has 10 grams of collagen in it. So if I get really frisky, I'll start taking that because, and I'll show you during the slide presentation where the addition of collagen in the studies, I'm not just telling you stuff just basically off the tip of my brain here, but in the studies, adding collagen adds that extra amount of oomph to that protein pulse. I'm going to talk about what protein pulse is in just a second. Because as I looked into the chat, nobody really put in the amount of protein, but the amount of protein you need to take per day has been estimated to be about 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilogram. And for the majority of us on this call, that means that we got to most definitively take more than 120 grams of protein a day because we're looking at it for our ideal body weight. Okay. So I definitely, the amount of protein I have to take in is around about 150 grams a day. And I only weigh 70 kilograms, 70, 80 kilograms. All right. So, but just looking at it as towards the amount, we were doing some things wrong. But you don't know this, and you wouldn't know this because nobody's telling you this. They are telling you all over the internet how much to take in, how much to take in a day, aren't they? They're telling you to take in 100, 110 grams a day, aren't they? Yeah. But if you were to do that and say you took in at lunch, it's okay, I need 120 grams of protein. I'm going to take 60 grams at lunch. I'm going to take 60 grams at dinner. That's great, right? Absolutely not. Because the pulsing effect, and we'll show this again in the slide, means that you got to take a certain amount, and above anything above and beyond that amount is not wasted, but is being utilized as energy. So the 40 grams that I take in, that's all my body can hold. It's called the muscle full effect. And when my muscle is full, it's full. So if I take 60 grams, it's going to use 40 grams and it's going to be resistant to the other 20 grams. Now, the other 20 grams are not going to just be peed out. The other 20 grams is going to be used to, I don't know, and repair your intestinal tract, repair um, your liver parenchyma, things of that nature. It's still going to have a function. But if all of those things are good, guess what that extra 20 grams is going to be doing? That 20 grams is going to be used as an energy source. Now, normally protein is not used as an energy source, but when you take in excess, it's used as an energy source. And when you use it as an energy source, that means you're not using fat as your energy source. Now, our overall goal of being here, for the majority of us, not everybody, the majority of the people that I have on who are patients, ex-patients, patients to be, um, the majority of us are here to lose fat because we have this epidemic. And so if we're taking excess amount of protein in the form of, I don't know, two meals where we're taking 60. Some people are waiting to the end of the day to take all their protein, including their protein shakes, and they'll take it all in one fell swoop. 100 grams of protein. That means that you're taking 60 grams of protein, then that's 60 grams of protein extra that you're taking in above the 40 grams is only going to be used as an energy source, and you're not going to be burning the fat. Not good. All right. So anyway, the whole point of these little tidbits is just to fine tune your strategy. And like I said, there are certain strategies that will just become, okay, fine. Yeah, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. But there are certain strategies you got to incorporate into your daily life as a habit, like brushing your teeth and taking a shower. And that's why I got the 8 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock. Because if I said, yeah, I don't feel like it, because you are not going to feel like taking 40 grams 4 times a day or 30 grams 4 times a day if you're younger. All right. So that's that. All right. So that's the protein part. Now I'm going to mention one thing, and then I'm going to bring in the two videos that explain everything what I'm saying. And then we'll discuss it. I'm going to maybe even give you some quizzes first. Okay. So with the fiber, remember when I used to talk about how much fiber do we need to get in per day? Did anybody remember that from the good old days, the people who have been on here? How much fiber is it required for you to take in per day? That's an old thought. Okay. Things have changed. Anybody know? Put it in the chat box. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. 25 grams for women, 38 grams for men. Okay. Men need more. All right. So everybody kind of knows that, right? Well, that's not so true because if you're just concentrating on getting fiber, and I made the mistake of telling everybody, hey, all you got to do is get this Amazon, go get triple fiber. It was 4-in-1 at first. Now it's triple fiber. But what it had in it was three. Triple fiber has three different types of fiber: inulin, acacia, and some psyllium husk. I'm going to tell you why that's not good enough for you now. All right, because no longer is it that and it depends on what you want to do. If you're trying to just feed your microbiome, the triple fiber is good because the inulin and the acacia, they are trying to feed your microbiome, make your intestinal tract healthy, which then releases GLP-1, which has some effects as well. But our core goal, yeah, is to increase our GLP-1 and naturally and basically just kind of keep us from eating too much naturally. Stay away from these new drugs. I just saw an article about the newest drug out there, retatrutide, that's coming out. And people are losing a pretty good amount of weight with that drug. It's amazing the amount of weight that they're losing. They're losing it in the order of almost surgery, right? But it's muscle mass. It's not right. It is not right. It pisses me off sometimes to even think about losing muscle mass because and it's nothing magical about this drug or Zepbound and all that. Yeah, you're going to lose weight. But when you're losing 20, 30, 40% muscle mass, you're just taking yourself backwards. Because this whole thing of I'm going to talk about how important it is as you're aging to preserve muscle mass, and this stuff is taken away from you, we're going to have a bunch of zombies in the next 5 to 10 years. People who have lost weight because they get on the scale and say, look, I don't know, I've lost 60 pounds. But 30 pounds of that, 20 pounds of that is going to be muscle mass. And losing muscle mass, you're losing your metabolic engine. You're losing your glucose sink. What does that mean? Your glucose sink, your muscle is operating on glucose. You lose that muscle mass, you lose where you store glucose. If you have nowhere to push your glucose that you're taking in your mouth, things get converted to glucose. If you have nowhere to store that glucose, i.e., the muscle mass, then it just backs up into your bloodstream. When it backs up into your bloodstream, then you basically become in a situation where your insulin has to rise up even higher to try to push it somewhere. So your insulin is saying, okay, muscle, you're going to take this. The muscle says, hey, I got less room because I got less muscle mass. And basically, there's no more room in this limited amount of muscle mass. Find someplace else to put that glucose. Well, first it's going to damage your eyes. First it's going to damage your kidneys. First it's going to damage your coronary vessels, then your carotid vessels, stroke, heart attack, dementia, all those things. But then after that, I got no place else to put it. What's the depot that's most receptive to excess glucose? Fat. It gets the glucose gets turned into fat. It has no place else to put it. The body realizes it's dangerous to your kidneys, it's dangerous to your heart, it's dangerous to your mind to leave it in the bloodstream because too much glucose circulating in your bloodstream is diabetes. So it then pushes it. It says, I can't get it into the muscle. Let me just go ahead and put it into the fat. You gain more fat. So losing muscle mass, any way you put it, you're going to be gaining more fat. So the people who are on these drugs, and I won't say a whole lot about it because I love to bash them, but they get after me when I bash them too much. But any drug that's predicated on you losing muscle mass, then it is not a good drug. And on top of that, like I said, there's nothing magical. Those drugs don't go in there and dissolve muscle mass. It just tricks your brain. It's not dissolving muscle mass. It just tells you that you're hungry, that you're not hungry. Do not eat. You're not hungry. So people don't eat all day. People eat a little bit and they stop eating. It makes them nauseated. It's just a byproduct of not eating. If you don't eat enough protein, you're going to lose muscle mass. Not a single one of these drugs dissolves fat. No, they don't dissolve muscle mass. They just make you don't want to eat. And the problem is that the GLP-1s that I'm trying to get you to activate in your intestinal tract, that GLP-1 is only stimulated by one thing, food. So you're eating food and you're activating your GLP-1 fibers early. With the surgery and with everything we talk about, your GLP-1 in your gut can only respond to food. The GLP-1s that give you in a shot, they go straight to your brain, tell you, hey, you've eaten, you got a whole meal on board. What are you even thinking about eating anymore? That's dangerous. To me, it is. All right. Anyway, that's my thing. All right, let me go ahead and go to the slideshow. So the number of grams of fiber they were supposed to take in is not as important anymore. 25 to 38 grams of fiber. It's not about the number of grams of fiber. It's the quality of fiber. So let's go ahead and explore those things that I just talked about. All right, let's share. All right, let's share this one. I'm just going to show you some pictures of me before and after. Let's see. There you go. So continue to share. Okay. All right. So this I'm just going. These are just extra things that's a different talk. That's me, guys. Atrial fibrillation, mild congestive heart failure, pre-diabetes, hypertension. That's me at 205 pounds. And it's the dangerous part too. Look at that. That's the dangerous part. That's the visceral fat inside there. This fat right here, you can pinch it a little bit, but it's the non-pinchable type. It's coming from the inside, pushing your belly wall out. That's me taking it at a nice little angle, huh? Well, I thought it may look better at an angle. Maybe if some of it would go away. It didn't go away. It didn't go away. Um, okay. So whenever you see me purse my lips like that, it means I'm sucking it in. I'm holding my breath. I'm about to probably faint and fall out. But I'm holding my breath, trying to suck it in. That's as best it can do from a side angle. This is the best I can pull it in. All right. Let's see. Now, this is me a couple of weeks ago, the same weight I weigh today. 167, 168, 169. I fluctuate between those now. Okay. This scar right here is that from that excess amount of fat it produced atrial fibrillation. I had to go in and get an ablation first through my vein. I had it twice. First through my vein, that didn't work. And then in my leg. They had to go actually into my chest to do it. Painful, painful, painful operation. But got it done. This is me now. Again, there's that signal. I'm holding my breath, pursing my stomach again. Okay, got a little excess wrinkly skin, but a little six pack coming in there. So before and after. Okay, before and after. All right, person at the end, before and after. Yeah, those are the good old days. I don't miss them, and I guarantee you, this, like I said, this right here is much, much, much later in life. I guarantee I'm much healthier here than I am here, much, much, much younger in my life. Okay. All right. So I just kind of wanted to show that. Let me just kind of continue. Let me just go stop this and go. I want to show you a couple of videos and then we're going to try, as I always say, we're going to try to get out of here a little earlier today. Let's see, go to share. I'm going to share my screen here and then I'm going to go to, if I can find it, where did I put it? I always lose it. Let me see. hmm Bear with me. Bear with me. Bear with me. Wait, regain talk. Safari. Well, anyway, I'll just go ahead and I'll open up a new one. Okay. So I'm gonna show you a questionnaire first. Let's see, today's webinar. Let's talk about the fiber that we talked about for a minute, okay? All right, so I'm gonna basically give y'all a fiber quiz. Let's do that. All right. I hadn't seen this quiz before. Usually, if I've seen it, you know that I've seen it because it won't let you erase your mistakes. So, all right, let me get this picture of me out the way and fire a quiz. How do I open it up? Okay, let's do this. Expand. All right, so I think everybody can see that. Not, I'll make it bigger. I'm gonna go previous. I looked at some of these questions, but I didn't answer them. Okay, so we're gonna all answer them together. All right, everybody see these questions? If you can see the questions, just put a yes in the chat. So I'll make sure that I'm not going. Okay, great. All right. All right. So we're gonna look at these questions here. According to the source materials, and that means all the studies, I took 39 pieces of well done literature and looked at all this literature and developed this quiz. What is the estimated fiber gap in the average American diet? Americans consume approximately 20 to 25 grams per day, nearly reaching the recommended 30. Is that true? B, Americans consume 15 grams per day, which meets the daily requirement for most adults. Is that true? C, Americans consume five grams a day. Oh, Lord. Failing to reach the recommended 15 grams. Oh, Lord. Okay. Americans consume approximately 10 to 12 grams a day, which is less than half of the recommended 25 to 38 grams. What's your answer? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Ooh, boy, I see a lot of C's on here. Okay. Let's see one A. All right. Americans consume 5 grams a day, failing to reach the recommended 15 grams. Well, we talked about that. The recommended, if we're going to use the amount, the recommended is 25 grams to 38 grams, right? So I doubt what this would be, right? Somebody said both C and D. Okay, let's try D. Americans consume approximately 10 grams per day, which is on average, but they're recommending we get 25. So we're basically taking it in half. Let's see if that's correct. That's right. The texts indicate that current consumption is around 10 grams, while the advised intake ranges from 25 to 38 grams, 25 grams for women to 38 grams for men. Okay? Let's quickly go through these. We've got 10 of them. What is the primary physiological role of insoluble fiber, often referred to as the broom type of fiber? You remember me talking about that? A, to act as the primary catalyst for the fermentation and production of short chain fatty acids. B, to increase the rate of transit and fecal volume by adding dietary bulk. Possibly. C, to form high molecular weight gels that delay the absorption of glucose, the broom type of fiber. Okay. D, to directly bind to circulating LDL cholesterol and remove it from the bloodstream. Which one is the insoluble fiber? The stuff that we eat, the lettuce, the cabbage, the cauliflower, the spinach, the broccoli. That's the broom fiber, the insoluble fiber. What's your answer on that? D. Let me see here. What does D say? Directly bind and remove from the bloodstream. You sure? You sure? You sure? The broom type of fiber is exactly that's and see that's the thing about it. Our parents told us to eat salads. Our parents told us to eat this and eat your vegetables and eat your spinach, eat your broccoli because this is going to be good for you healthy. Well, actually, um, let's try B. Okay, let's just try B. Yeah, that's right. Insoluble fibers like cellulose, and cellulose is in the vegetables, all the things that our parents told us to eat, primarily impact the gastrointestinal tract by holding water and adding bulk to speed up waste removal. There's just sweeping out your colon. That's just good for your colon. You will probably decrease your insulin or your incidence of colon cancer, but it does nothing for your metabolic health. But it is important. All right. So all your vegetables are important, but we're going to tell you which ones are the most important. Okay. Next. Hmm. How do viscous soluble fibers, such as those found in unicity balance, and this is this product. This is all I'm going to do is show you what this is because I'm going to show you why I take this, and then you just decide whether you want to take it or not. I could care less, but I said those found in the unicity balance matrix impact the kinetics of digestion. They bypass the stomach entirely to be fermented immediately in the small intestine. They bypass the stomach entirely to be fermented immediately in the small intestine. Nah. They function as simple laxatives by irritating the intestinal lining to move water faster. Now, that's what insoluble fibers do. That's what the vegetables and all that stuff do. I'll tell you some of these answers. C, they accelerate the breakdown of complex carbohydrates to provide immediate energy surges. Nope. They create a biological speed bump by forming a thick gel that shows gastric emptying and nutrient absorption. Everybody get that answer? Yep, they did. They created biological speed bump. Viscosity increases the thickness of the digester, which mechanically delays the passage of food and creates an unstirred water layer. And I'll show you how this works. I'm just going to basically just kind of take this. I got a little glass of water here. And it's just a little small thing here. You just need a little water. You don't need to fill up a whole lot, but I'm going to show you what happens. So I'm going to put this in here. Mhm. And the reason that I use this is because I tried the psyllium husk. You could do the exact same thing with taking psyllium husk 2 or 3 times a day. But let it sit here. I'll take this little stirrer. Now, if I let that sit, I won't be able to get it down. So I put it in cold water, then I'll take it and drink it. Couple of swallows. It tastes great, but you can see there's still some left I can't quite get out because it's forming a gel. And I'm going to show you how to use that. But because when I eat pasta, because I love some pasta, I stopped all my patients from eating pasta. I stopped all my patients from eating mashed potatoes, macaroni and cheese, all that stuff. But I was telling them that you can take that stuff if you take this first. Now, obviously, the dose matters. If you take a big old bowl of pasta, big old macaroni and cheese, bread, and all that, you got to take maybe one and a half of these. But what this does is it forms a gel in the stomach, and I'll show you the slides in just a second. And once you kind of take it 15 minutes before, that gel in the stomach, that mashed potato comes down, once that extreme instance, the cheesecake or the bread comes down or the pasta comes down, It then combines with that gel. When it combines with that gel, not 100%, but it goes on through. And what happens is that when you eat pasta by itself, and I have a video, if I have time, I'll show it, a video of my continuous glucose monitor. When I eat pasta alone, glucose spike. And I want you to recognize that terminology, glucose spike, bad thing. Glucose spike, bad thing. Because glucose spike leads to insulin spike. Insulin spike leads to insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is the number one cause of all chronic diseases: diabetes, hypertension, sleep apnea, heart disease, stroke, and dementia. So just equate, you don't have to remember all the biochemistry of it, but insulin spike. So if you can get less insulin spike eating pasta, do it. If you don't want to buy this, which is, a couple of dollars or something like that, and you say, oh, this is getting to be really, really expensive. No, it's not. Because between the time that I take this little 30, this thing of protein shake here is 39 bucks, and this stuff, I'm not hungry. And when I do eat, I'll eat a small salad. I'll eat some salmon in the evening. It'll be a small amount. And as a matter of fact, me and my wife share one meal. And when we go out, we only buy one meal. And if they make us buy two meals, they will allow us to buy it off the kids' menu. It is not an expensive lifestyle. But anyway, I digress. Let's keep going. Number four, in the context of weight management, why is lowering insulin levels, I guess that's what I just talked about, through viscous fiber consumption considered a key to fat loss? A, lower insulin levels increase the body's craving for high-fat foods to compensate for lower insulin. Sounds suspect. B, insulin is required to transport fat into the mitochondria for burning. Sounds suspect. High insulin levels inhibit lipolysis, effectively locking fat inside the cells. Makes a little sense. Lowering insulin is necessary only for individuals with type 2 diabetes and not for general fat loss. And when we used to take tests in class, anytime something says only, you know that that's the wrong answer. So what's the answer, ladies and gentlemen? In the drum roll. See. Let's try that. See, that's right. Insulin is an anabolic hormone that prevents the breakdown of stored body fat, so reducing this level. So again, we'll take one more and then we'll go to the video. Which of the following best describes the difference between fermentable soluble fiber and viscous soluble fiber? So there are two types of soluble fiber, and then there's one type of insoluble fiber. So the insoluble fiber is the cauliflower, the broccoli, the spinach, the roughage, the broom that makes the colon healthy. Two types of soluble fiber. One is that triple fiber that I was telling you guys to take. It has acacia and inulin, and it feeds your microbacteria. It's a good thing. And then the third soluble fiber is the viscous, and it's not the third type. The second type of soluble fiber is the viscous fiber, which is the one we're talking about. That's the one we're talking about for metabolic health. Why? Because it reduces insulin spikes. Why do I want to reduce insulin spikes? Because insulin spikes leads to glucose spikes, and the glucose doesn't come down. So, the insulin doesn't come down. And so you leave insulin elevated too long a period of time, your body's going to get insulin resistant. Your body gets insulin resistant, diabetes ensues, all the things that we talked about. Okay. So the number one fiber that we're going to need is the viscous fiber. All the other fibers, taking in a salad, keeping our colon clean, that's cool. Feeding our microbiome, that's cool. Fortunately, this particular product has the viscous fiber and some inulin and acacia, and that's even better. So it has the total package, with the exception of it doesn't have the broccoli. It doesn't have the asparagus. It doesn't have that. You got to really eat those. Okay. And that's cool. Eating vegetables, hopefully, is not that expensive. All right. So anyway, I'll answer this one. Then we'll finish with this and go to the thing. Which of the following best describes the difference between fermentable fiber and viscous fiber? Fermentable fibers are the primary drivers of LDL reduction. fermentable fibers, while viscous fibers have no effect on cholesterol. That's the exact opposite of what I just said, isn't it? B, viscous fibers are found only in vegetables, while fermentable fibers are found only in cereal grains. I don't think so. Let me see what y'all are saying. All right. Fermentable fibers increase the viscosity of the small intestine, whereas viscous fibers only affect the colon. Doesn't sound too good. Viscous fibers form gels to slow digestion, while fermentable fibers are broken down by gut bacteria to produce short-chain fatty acids. Sounds good, right? Viscous fibers form gels, that's true, to slow digestion, true, while fermentable fibers are broken down by gut bacteria. Remember that microbiome I was saying about? So let's see if that's right. Bam. While many fibers are both, their primary metabolic roles differ between physical thickening and all that. Okay. Close out of that. Let me go to none. Let's just basically pull it in the form of this slide. I mean this presentation here, if I can get to it. Let's do the explainer video. If I can get it to come up. Put it here. See if I can see it. Take this thing as usual, put it way over here. 6 minutes. Bear with me.
All right, let's talk about fiber. I know. But stick with me here because we're about to dive deep into something you think you know about. And I guarantee you're going to look at your diet in a whole new way after this because it turns out there's a huge detail most of us are completely missing. We've all heard this, right? It comes from every direction. Doctors, dietitians, your mom. Eat more fiber. It's like the golden rule of nutrition. It sounds so simple, so correct. But what if I told you that advice on its own is actually kind of useless? Because this is the question that changes the entire game. The science is becoming crystal clear on this. Not all fiber is the same, not even close. Some types are, well, just passing through. But others are serious metabolic workhorses, and they literally change how your body handles food. And look, before we even get into the type of fiber, let's just talk about how much we're getting or not getting. We're looking at a massive gap in the Western diet. The recommendations are way up there, around 25 to 38 grams a day, but the average person barely getting 10 to 12 grams. We're not just missing the target, we are not even in the same ballpark. And this shortfall is setting the stage for some really serious health issues down the line. Okay, so to really get a handle on this, we need to know who the players are. It's way easier if you think of them as 3 different characters, each with a very specific job to do. So here they are. First up, we've got the broom. This is your classic insoluble fiber. Think of the stringy parts of celery. Its main job, just what it sounds like, sweeping things along, adding bulk, and keeping you regular. Then you have the gut gardener. This one is a soluble fiber, and its job is to feed all those good bacteria in your gut. But then there's our main character for today, the metabolic manager. This one is also soluble, but it has a superpower that the others don't. It's viscous. And that one property is where all the metabolic magic really happens. So let's zoom in on this metabolic manager. The most important thing about it isn't just that it's soluble. Nope, it's all about its viscosity. That's just a fancy word for its ability to form a thick, syrupy gel inside your gut. So what exactly is this viscous fiber? Well, when you eat foods like oats or barley or psyllium husk, this kind of fiber soaks up water in your stomach like an absolute sponge. And as it does, it transforms into this thick, almost goopy gel-like matrix. And that gel is the key. It physically changes the entire environment of your digestive system. And you can see the difference it makes right here. Without that gel, food just rushes through your system. Carbs break down super fast, sugar floods your bloodstream, and bam, you get a big glucose spike. But when that viscous fiber gel is in the mix, everything slows way down. It's like a traffic calming speed bump for your digestion. Your stomach empties slower, nutrients get absorbed gradually, and that big, sharp glucose spike gets flattened into a gentle, rolling hill. Let's just walk through it real quick. Step 1, you eat the fiber. Simple enough. Step 2, it immediately starts pulling in water in your stomach. Step 3, it swells up and forms that thick gel matrix we've been talking about. And step 4, that gel physically slows everything down, giving your body the time it needs to properly manage all the nutrients coming in. Now, slowing down digestion is a pretty big deal, but viscous fiber has another incredible trick up its sleeve. It's one of the most powerful natural tools we have for lowering LDL cholesterol, the bad kind. And how it works is just brilliant. So, a little background first. Your liver is constantly using cholesterol that's already in your blood to make something called bile acids. You need these to digest fats. They're absolutely essential. Now, your body is super efficient. So, normally, after the bile does its job, about 95% of it gets recycled back to the liver to be used again and again. Okay, so watch how viscous fiber completely hijacks the system for your benefit. The liver makes bile from cholesterol. Business as usual. The bile helps you digest your food. But then, and here's the kicker, that sticky, gooey, viscous gel we talked about, it lays a trap. It grabs onto those bile acids and doesn't let go. So instead of being recycled, that trapped bile just gets flushed out of your body. Your liver then panics a little bit. It's like, whoa, I'm running low on bile. I got to make more. And to make more, what does it have to do? It has to pull its main ingredient, LDL cholesterol, directly out of your bloodstream. It's an absolutely genius process that lowers your cholesterol naturally. This brings us to a really, really important point. You might see soluble fiber on a nutrition label and think, great, I'm all set. But the science is showing us that's a huge mistake. Yeah, just because a fiber is soluble, meaning it can dissolve in water, that doesn't automatically mean it forms that thick, powerful gel. A lot of soluble fibers have very low viscosity, so they don't give you those same awesome effects. You can't just count the grams of soluble fiber and call it a day. And hey, don't just listen to me. This quote comes straight from a scientific study. Researchers looked at this exact question and found essentially that there's no reliable link. A food could be packed with soluble fiber, but produce almost no viscosity in the gut. The takeaway is simple. It's the viscosity that matters for your metabolism, not just the solubility. So with all this new info, it's time to totally rethink how we look at fiber. It isn't just about cramming in enough grams to hit a number. It's about being strategic and making sure you're getting the types that actually do the heavy lifting. Let's just recap the most important stuff here. First, the type of fiber you eat is everything. Second, those viscous, gel-forming fibers are the true powerhouses for your metabolism. Third, they work their magic by slowing down your digestion and trapping bile acids to force your body to lower its own cholesterol. And that leads to the final biggest point. Fiber quality, which really means its viscosity, is way more important than just the total quantity of fiber you eat. So that leaves us with one last big question to think about. It's not just, am I getting enough fiber anymore? The real question you should be asking yourself is, am I getting the right kind of fiber? The kind that can actually manage your health from the inside out.
All righty. So that's that one. And basically, the other thing I want to get to you guys before, and so that's important. People ask, this is the color balance. We have this in the office. As a matter of fact, if you come into the office, ask to taste this because this is what I told you before. If you can't afford this, is a couple of dollars. If you can't afford it, then that's okay. Take psyllium husk. I think psyllium husk Metamucil is cheaper, I believe. But you take that and you take that twice a day before your meals, and it can do close to the same thing. But it depends upon the amount of fettuccine, the amount of tacos, the amount of carbohydrates you're going to put in your body. That Metamucil is only one. This has five diversified types of fibers in it. And when I did that experiment, and I was taking Metamucil twice a day, it made me so nauseated. But I don't want to. I don't want to jade anybody. I want you to try it yourself. But whatever you do, get viscous fiber in your protocol. And that goes especially for the people who have had bariatric surgery and all that, because you got a small stomach and it does miraculous things for that smaller stomach. Okay. Let's quickly go to, let me see if I can go to my studio and get you something regarding muscle mass. And this is where we're going to end up. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to go to today's webinar. I don't want that one. Let's see. I like this one here. And this is going to be, I don't want to give you the quiz. I'll just kind of give you the slide presentation here, if I can. All right, here we go. If I can pull that up. This is cool. Now, some of the things they're going to tell you, and this is the reason I was telling you about pulsing this protein, taking in that protein. So remember those statements that I made, that taking your protein throughout the day in a regimented fashion to where it's not a thought process. I guarantee you're not going to want to take it in at 12 o'clock. When I get ready to eat my brunch meal with my eggs and bacon or whatever I'm going to use, I'm not going to want to take this um, protein shake. I'm going to take this particular protein shake here, the whey protein shake. And then tonight, there's a different type of protein shake that we're going to take. Oh yeah, this is the casein. So 3 times a day, I take the whey protein, and this is the casein. Which the only difference is, and if you don't want to take the casein, you don't have to. You can take cottage cheese, same kind of thing. All right, take cottage cheese a couple hours before you go to bed. It provides you with protein that is very, very slow to break down. The whole point is that we break down our muscle mass at night when we go through so many hours. Remember, I said every 4 hours, you got a window to pulse and make you have muscle protein synthesis. We want to use every 4 hours, right? But we're not going to get up in the middle of the night eating, right? So before we go to bed, we're going to eat something that delivers our protein called leucine, and that's the one thing that unlocks the key to actually making protein synthesis. We're going to take that in so that when we go to bed, we're not missing a beat. And then when we get up in the morning at 8 o'clock, we're starting back over again. Now, how easy is it to forget all that? Very easy. And how easy is it for us to go down that rabbit hole where we just don't get it and we just don't exercise? Very easy. But I'm here to tell you that I just basically came back from the DR and I had some pretty tragic results. I don't like to end these things with tragic results, but there are a lot of 50-year-olds that didn't do what they needed to do, and they're looking like 90-year-olds and they're got diabetes and all that. One of my good friends, forget it, basically taking this advice right now that nobody else is giving you, taking this advice right now, you will be so happy. Your body will thank you. I'm serious about that. Okay. All right. Let's get to this one, and this one's going to be the
All
last
right,
one.
let's get right into it. We're all used to thinking about aging in terms of, the number of candles on a birthday cake. But what if I told you there's a completely different clock ticking inside you, a metabolic clock? Today, we're going to talk about how to slow that one way, way down. So let me ask you a question, and it's a bit of a mind bender. What if the date on your birth certificate is, well, wrong? What if that number, your chronological age, is actually the least important number when it comes to how you feel, how you function, and how you live? What if your biological age is the only one that truly matters? And this is really the heart of the matter. The latest science is making it crystal clear. You can't stop time, obviously, but you absolutely have control over the clock inside your cells. And the single biggest lever you can pull to control it is muscle. That's the difference maker. So, how does this all work? Let's really dig into the core problem here. Because it's not just about getting a little weaker as you get older. Losing muscle actively, and I mean actively, makes you biologically older. It's all thanks to this powerful, destructive feedback loop. Okay, check this out. This is the vicious cycle. Each step here literally feeds the next one. As we age, our bodies just get worse at building muscle. It's called anabolic resistance. And because muscle is metabolically expensive, it burns a ton of calories just existing, your body starts to see it as overhead and gets rid of it. Well, that tanks your metabolism, which of course makes it way easier to gain fat. That new fat.
Now he went over that a little quick, but that's one of the most important parts, is because muscle is expensive to maintain. A Rolls Royce in your car, which is muscle, a Rolls Royce in your car, a Rolls Royce in your garage is expensive to maintain. You sit it there, you got to take it. It's going to be a couple $1,000s to get whatever needs to be fixed. Muscle is expensive to maintain, and the body ain't having that. So if it figures, okay, fine, muscle is expensive to maintain. We're not needing it. We're not using it. We're not doing anything with it. We're not trying to maintain it. I'm going to get rid of it. So one of the things that as we age is muscle is leaving our bodies because we don't do anything with it. We don't do anything to maintain it by taking in the appropriate amount of protein. And then number two, we're not exercising the way we're supposed to. And I'm going to show you what that means. But I wanted you to not let that part slip by that says muscle loss is because the body's saying it takes 600 calories of my precious calories that I need every day in order to maintain this muscle. And this muscle ain't doing anything. So what? I'm gonna get rid of this muscle. And then you get rid of the muscle, then that rest of that cycle comes into play. Here it goes.
Increases inflammation all over your body. And guess what? That inflammation makes it even harder to build muscle. And the cycle just keeps going, spinning faster and faster, making you metabolically older. I want you to really let this quote sink in. This isn't just about aesthetics or being strong. We are talking about the very definition of aging. Anytime you lose weight but don't protect your muscle, you are literally hitting the gas pedal on your own aging process. So it's absolutely crucial that we figure out how to protect this precious tissue. And to do that, we got to get nerdy. We have to go down to the molecular level. How does a muscle cell actually get the command to grow? Well, it turns out there's a master switch, a main engine, and we need to learn exactly how to turn it on. So, meet MTOR. The easiest way to think about it is like the general contractor on a massive construction site. Nothing, and I mean nothing, gets built unless MTOR gives the final green light. It is the absolute boss when it comes to muscle growth. So how do we get mTOR's attention? Well, it comes down to these two key players that work like a brake and an accelerator. See, in a resting state, this molecule called sestrin-1 is the brake. It literally puts a clamp on Gator-2, the accelerator, holding it hostage.
All right, so I'll explain what these mean in just a second. They're important, not as important as for you, but the fact of the matter is that what he's getting ready to say is that when I talk about that 30 to 40 grams of whey protein, all it contains is leucine. That's it. That leucine then goes down that cycle, goes down that pathway, and it attaches to the cestrin and allows the cestrin to release the Gator-2, and Gator-2 stimulates the mTOR. You ain't got to remember all this, but it's the leucine stimulates the mTOR. That's the bottom line. Those two middle effects right there, that's just for me and my medical students. But or unless you want to know. But the leucine, the certain amount of leucine, and the reason I say 30 to 40 grams is because there is a certain amount of leucine that you got to get per pulse. If you only get 1 gram of leucine, ain't gonna do any good. Gonna get 2 grams of leucine, ain't gonna do any good. The studies will show, as you'll see, it takes 3.5 to 4 grams of leucine, which by definition correlates with the 30 to 40 grams of whey protein. So I just want you to know why I say what I'm saying, so that you won't say, well, he's just pulling that 30 grams. Maybe that 20 gram of protein shake on the shelf that's whey protein concentrate, maybe they'll do okay. No, ladies and gentlemen, I'm trying to tell you the type of protein you take in and the amount of protein is crucial. That's why you're all here to get the details. All right. And I just want to make sure that these details are outlined so that you can just do them routinely. Get the amount that you need to get it routinely. Don't even think about it anymore after you learn it. Okay. Here we go.
As long as that brake is on, muscle growth is a total no-go. But here's how we start the engine. When you eat a protein-rich meal, a very special amino acid called leucine shows up. Leucine is basically the key that unlocks the sestrin-1 brake. It binds to sestrin-1, forces it to let go, and suddenly, Gator-2 is free. It rushes over to mTOR, flips that master switch to on, and just like that, the construction crew gets to work building new muscle. It's a really beautiful system, right? But there's a catch. As we get older, a huge problem creeps in. That signal, that beautiful, clear signal, it starts to get fuzzy. And that engine becomes a whole lot harder to start. This is the real reason we lose muscle as we age. And that problem has a name: anabolic resistance. It's not that your muscle building machinery is broken. It's more like your muscle cells have become hard of hearing. They're going deaf to the signals. So the same meal that easily triggered growth in your 20s might do absolutely nothing in your 40s or 50s. The bar for what it takes to get that engine started just gets higher and higher. And this leads us to this really dangerous default setting in the body. Look, your body is always trying to be efficient. And from a purely energy saving perspective, muscle is just expensive overhead. So if it doesn't get a loud, clear, hey, we need this to survive signal, like from heavy lifting or a big dose of protein, the body's default mode is to just get rid of it. It's just trying to conserve energy. So, what's the solution? How do we fight back against this? Simple. We have to shout. We need to send a signal that's so loud, so undeniable, that our deaf muscle cells can't possibly ignore it. And the research is really specific here. That signal needs to contain about 3 grams of that key amino acid, leucine, in one go. And that brings us to the actual game plan. This isn't just cool science. This is a practical, actionable protocol designed specifically to send that louder signal and just smash right through anabolic resistance. Let's lay it all out. We've basically got 2 tools in our toolbox. The first is the nutrition signal from protein. It's powerful, but it's really short. It opens a muscle building window for maybe 2-3 hours tops. After that, your cells become full and just stop responding. But the second tool, the mechanical signal from resistance training, now that's a game changer. It doesn't just open a window, it makes your muscles incredibly sensitive to protein for up to 72 hours. It's the ultimate override switch. So the rules of the game are pretty straightforward. First, you need that mechanical signal. You lift heavy things 2 to 3 times a week. That keeps you pretty much constantly in that 48 to 72 hour sensitivity window. Second, every time you eat protein, the signal has to be loud. That means 30 to 40 grams of high quality protein to make sure you hit that 3-gram leucine target. And finally, you use a protein pulsing strategy to send that loud signal multiple times a day, working with that muscle full effect, not against it. Okay, that's the theory. So what does this actually look like on a plate on a Tuesday for someone in their 40s or 50s? Let's walk through a blueprint. And this is critical. This plan does not rely on you feeling hungry, because that's a signal that can really fade as we age. So here's a sample day. You wake up and at 8 a.m., you start with a 30-gram whey protein shake. This is your ignition. It immediately breaks that overnight fast and bam, flips the mTOR switch on. At noon, you have a real meal with at least 30 grams of protein. Then around 4 p.m., you hit it again. Another whey pulse, another signal. This is our third muscle building window of the day. And finally, right before bed, a slow digesting casein shake. Think of it like a slow drip of amino acids to help you repair and rebuild all night long. See what we've done? We've strategically hit that mTOR switch 4 separate times, maximizing our gains. Now, 2 really important questions always come up. 1, what do I do on the days I don't lift? And 2, where does something like collagen fit into all this? Great questions, and the answers are crucial for making this whole thing stick. On your rest days, you absolutely 100% continue the protein pulsing. You got to remember, that sensitivity signal from your last workout lasts up to 72 hours. Your muscles are primed and ready to grow, and rest days are actually when most of that growth happens. Now, for collagen, think of it as part of what we can call the blend protocol. The latest research shows that combining protein types is a huge win. Whey and casein build the engine. That's your muscle. Collagen helps build a stronger chassis, your tendons, ligaments, all your connective tissue. You need both to be resilient. Okay, so we've gone deep into the mechanics, the protocol, the daily schedule. Let's zoom all the way back out. Why on earth would you go through all this trouble? What's the big payoff for being so focused on muscle? The payoff is this. You are building a protective organ. Muscle isn't just for moving stuff. It actively talks to the rest of your body, releasing these amazing molecules called myokines that lower inflammation and keep your other organs healthy. It's the #1 place your body stores blood sugar, acting like a giant glucose sink to protect you from metabolic problems. It keeps your metabolism humming, and it is your literal suit of armor against becoming frail. And this quote just brings it all home. The clock on the wall, it's going to keep ticking. No one can stop that. But the clock inside your cells, the one that actually determines your health, your energy, your vitality, that one is under your control. By consistently sending the right signals, you are literally hitting the brakes on metabolic aging. So I'll just leave you with this one last thought. Take a look at your own routine, your own habits. Right now, is your muscle acting as an accelerator, speeding you toward decline? Or is it the powerful brake, preserving your vitality for all the decades to come? The choice and the power to change it is all yours.
All right. I think that was very cool. So to sum it all up, what I've told you today is that there's the quality of fiber that you need to take in every single day. at least twice a day. If you can do the psyllium husk, do the psyllium husk. Somebody said that can they get this? I think you can even get this on Target, but it's a little bit more expensive in Target or Walmart. I think you can get it on Walmart too. It's a little bit cheaper. We're selling it in our office. You can get it cheaper. We can send it to you. But the thing is that the only difference between this and psyllium husk, Metamucil, is that I got a little nauseated taking the psyllium husk twice a day, and because it has no flavor. But one of my good buddies who has a high cholesterol problem, he's taking it now, and he's doing pretty well. He can tolerate the taste. This, like I said, has a proprietary blend of the different ones, so it brings it down just a little bit better because it basically takes that. Somebody asked me the question, how do you what happens is on that slide that I showed you, when you put this in the form, this thing now is a gel. The little bit this Mount Lip is in there is a gel. So you can see that's a gel. That gel is in my stomach. Remember the old balloon technology? This is even better than the balloon technology. It makes you feel full, but at the same time, it's a gel, and anything that you put in there, like fettuccine or anything, it's going to absorb that. Not all of it, because there's only a small amount, but proportionally, if you want to eat if you, to be honest with you, and this I've done this before because when I was in the DR, I ate some chocolate cake because it was somebody's birthday. Chocolate cake, I ate some pasta and pizza. So I took three of these things and basically I had my CGM on. It didn't budge. The CGM didn't budge. Now I'm not encouraging you to do that. I'm encouraging you to stay away from stuff as much as possible. But if you've taken pasta a couple of times a week, no big deal. If you take the balance fiber first. The question on there was that what happens is that when you get that gel, then that gel basically is something that takes the LDL cholesterol and it absorbs it. When it absorbs it, that gel then passes it on through the intestinal tract and out your poo-poo. The video showed that our bile salts, which are made of cholesterol, that's one of the main things that our cholesterol is making is bile salts to help us digest fats. If we get those bile salts absorbed in that gel and we take it out of our poo-poo, we've got a net deficiency of bile salts. Well, the liver says, I'm reusing those bile salts. I need those bile salts. So when it's showing that the level is low, it says, hey, I need some bile salts. I need to make some bile salts. So the easiest way for it to make it is to get the resources of LDL cholesterol in the blood. So it robs the LDL cholesterol out of the blood and it pulls it into the liver to make bile salts. So it's making a good thing, bile salts, but it's also taking a bad thing, which is the LDL cholesterol in your bloodstream. The stuff that you guys are getting measured and the stuff that your doctors are putting you on statins for. By all means, check things with your doctor and say, Doc, listen, what if I wanted to try this? Can we check my LDL cholesterol in about another month? You take this every single day, twice a day, and get that LDL cholesterol checked. See what the results are going to be. You'll be quite pleasantly surprised. I've done it many, many, many times, and patients aren't pleasant. He said, Doc, they never told me that. And they're not. They don't have the time. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I think that was it. There are any questions that I can answer for you guys? I'm going to stop the share because I'm going to let you all go a little early today. All right. Where do you get the where do you get the collagen you put in your tea? The collagen. I don't put collagen in the tea. The tea is called unicity. It comes along with this, but for you guys, the most important part is the balance. Now it comes in several different things where you can add. I'll usually have you order uh, uh, two boxes of the balance and then one box of this unicity product. And this unicity product is the tea that stimulates your own GLP-1. Now, the balance eventually gets down to the microbiome, and this feeds your GLP-1 too. But the key is I want your GLP-1 to be activated by you eating things in your intestinal tract. You got to eat in order to activate your own GLP-1. And your own GLP-1 is so much safer. But when we start taking injections and bypassing our gut, and it's telling our brain that you're full. If you eat anything else, you're going to get nauseated. You're not going to enjoy it. You're not going to enjoy exercising because it also inhibits dopamine receptors too. The dopamine receptors are the I'm having fun, I'm having a good day. It blocks those. So you tend not to want to eat, but you also tend not to want to exercise. You also tend not to want to have sex. You also tend not to want to have alcohol, which is a good thing. And you also tend not to want to have cigarettes, which is also a good thing. So there are some certain good things about it by taking in your bloodstream. The main reason we started using was for diabetes, which is a good thing at a low dose. But when they start upping the doses and upping the doses in order to accommodate fat loss, that's when we start losing the muscle mass. That's when we start tricking the brain to thinking that we ate. And our muscle mass says, okay, fine. Your brain may think that you ate, but I didn't receive a single amino acid. And if you don't receive 40-gram pulses, you're going to lose that muscle mass. It's too expensive to maintain. All right. Somebody says, do I sell in my office? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Come by and get it. Like I said, I don't make a whole lot of money. I don't want to make money. It's just basically something that is easier for you. The metal mucil, if it, I would tell you, if you can go to Kmart or whatever, or Kroger or whatever, or Publix, get you some metal mucil. If you can take that 2 or 3 times a day, that's power to you. I tried to take it and basically then take some pasta. Whew, man, that was rough. But anyway, I'm not going to tell you what your experience is going to be. Uh, the T, can you buy that online? Yes, you can. I can give you all the information. And as a matter of fact, everybody who's on this program, George, I hope you're on it too, is going to get an email from me to give you this information, okay? And hopefully George will also put this particular video, an abbreviated form, so you won't have to sit through an hour and 15 minutes, an abbreviated form of it, just highlighting the main points with all of this little other dialogue up in. We can cut this down to a good, hopefully 30-minute talk. Um, and that's what we're going to try to begin to put on our website. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I really, really enjoy this. I enjoy teaching you guys because I enjoy new things that you guys didn't know that will really make you healthier. And like I said, the whole goal is that I saw this video on YouTube yesterday, and the guy was 78, and he was saying, "Oh man, the last thing you want to do is to get a wife when you," because his wife had died when she was 68, and he is 78, and he was like, "Oh man, I tried to date this 70-year-old, and she was just super active and all that." He says she just disrupted my thing. I said, you got to rest, you got to take care of your body, and you got to rest. And I disagree with that. I agree with the 70-year-old perky woman that says, hey, you got to get out, you got to socialize, you got to exercise, you got to make your body move. Because, it was obvious on the video that he had lost a lot of muscle mass and he was just he looked like 100 years old. We don't want that. We don't want that. When I get to be 80 years old, I want to look exactly like I did when I was 50 years old. And that is indeed possible. All right. Again, I will basically go ahead and let you guys go. If I don't have your email address, put your email address before I cut it off because when I cut it off, I won't see it. But put your email addresses if you want information about the fiber and things of that nature. And so if I don't have it, most of the people who are here because they registered in Zoom, I do have it. But if not, and you'll be getting that email. But if not, and then to put one other thing in there, just tell me one thing that you learned new today. And boy, next week we're going to really, really learn something new. It's going to be about exercise. Hopefully, we can get Dr. Andrea Griggs to come with us. Andrea Griggs to come with Rick Griggs to come with us and show us through some exercises, but I'm going to show you some of the things that's hot on the YouTube video now about doing air squats. Air squats the right way. If you do, we get up to the point that we build to be doing 100 air squats because the exercise we've got to take that seriously because you don't use it, your body says, "Hey, I'm not maintaining that." No, no, we're gonna let you go. When you let muscle mass go, it's a spiral downhill. Trust me on that. You all seen that more than probably I have. Well, actually, you probably haven't. All right, all right. Let's see. Anything new? I don't. I don't have to take 8 ounces of water. Yeah, you just have to take it. You just have to take it. This is a little shot glass almost. I have to take it with this little thing, cold water, and you just kind of gulp it. It takes me at least 1 or 2 gulps to take this down, but it immediately forms that gel and immediately kind of makes you feel full. And then you know that when you and be careful. If you're going to eat some pasta, don't order on that adult menu because you're going to leave a lot of pasta behind. You're gonna leave a lot of it behind because that gel expands, and as you eat the pasta, it's gonna expand even more. You're gonna say, "Whoa!" And you're gonna stop eating it. You're gonna think, "Oh, I wasted money on this," and it's not a waste of money. Just kind of use it next day for leftovers. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate it, and I'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.